Hi everyone, welcome to the third edition of Zero to Somewhere. Last week I accidentally said zero to nowhere, and also last week I definitely felt like that was true because, yeah, the pace of things is much slower than I would imagine or hope, but that's life, I guess. So, anyways, last week I got my first mentee and my first positive review, which I'm super grateful for. And also, I hopefully finished all of the bureaucracy around registering as a freelancer. I had submitted the registration as a freelancer, but it had to be processed by several bodies: the health insurance department, the social insurance department, and they were really dragging their feet. And finally, last week, they got back to me. So hopefully, all of the registration stuff is done, and I am fully open to proceed as a freelancer. But also, last week, around halfway through the week, I sort of realized that what I'm trying to do now probably is not the best because I'm on Code Mentor and I'm hunting for mentees that I can teach, and it is such a grind, to be blunt. Because, like, as I've shown before in one of my last recordings, it works by a lot of the mentees putting up requests for help, and then the mentors have to go and respond to them saying, hey, I'm available. But the issue with Code Mentor, at least, is that there's a lot more mentors than there are mentees. So the competition is intense. And basically, several days of last week, I was just having Chrome open at the side of my screen and I downloaded an extension to refresh the page every minute. And I was running that for hours. And whenever I saw someone post a request, I immediately responded to them, and even still I got no replies. So the reason I think why I'm not getting any traction is, first of all, I think maybe I'm being outbid on price, because obviously someone can come up and say, hey, I will do it for much less, and probably people will go with that. And the other reasons might be location, because I'm based in Czech Republic, and Code Mentor is a US based site with a lot of clients and students based in the US. And of course, they're going to prefer someone US based rather than someone based in Europe. So that it also puts me at a bit of a disadvantage. And of course, experience, because despite my glorious single review, I am very new to the platform, and there's probably someone else much more experienced who can probably sell themselves better than I can as well, because I'm writing proposals and probably I'm not describing my experience as good as someone else who is used to this is doing. But in any case, the process is such a grind. I'm spending hours just writing proposals to potential mentees and getting no replies, and it's just frustrating. So I started thinking about how I can go about this a bit differently, so that I don't have to write people and hopefully have people come to me. And that's when I remembered a course that I took several years ago about selling things online. The course is called 30 by 500, that is 30 multiplied by 500. And it's a course that is centered in content marketing, effectively, which is more or less about creating a solid base of articles and posts online, which people will then find. And then once they're on your site, you can hopefully try to sell them on some useful things. And because you write all this content, you already establish some trust with the readers that you are a person who knows this area and is qualified to build something in this area as well. And it also advocates for building something to focus on an audience that you belong to, which in my case, being a front-end developer, I belong to the audience of front-end developers, which means that I should write content around front-end development, because I know what sort of content that people would find useful, or how the people in the industry think. So what all this comes down to is, if I'm following this advice, is to build my own front-end development blog, and to start build an audience of my own to get a readership to this blog, who I can then approach with to either products or something around front-end development as well. Now, if I'm honest, I have tried this before. I tried creating a front-end development site blog a few years ago, around the same time that I found this course, and it didn't go anywhere because, like most of the things I start, they don't really last more than their first iteration. And in this case, I bought the domain, I set it up, I wrote the first blog post, which was not great, if I'm honest, which then also got deleted from the subreddit that I tried to share it to, and it died at that point. So, but this time, since I am effectively unemployed, I have all the time in the world to write more content. So, and I definitely think it's very useful to, even if this process as described by the 3500 course doesn't go as planned, where tons of people start coming into the site, and where then I can try to approach them with the offer. It's, I think, anyways useful to have a sort of portfolio or something that I can demonstrate about my work, and having a person like a web development site or front end development site would definitely be useful to like basically sell myself, even if I'm gonna stay on these mentoring platforms, and if I can just say, hey, I write this blog, and I can point to all the articles to that show that I know what I'm doing and not just say that I'm doing stuff. So in any case, I think having the site will be useful. So I will definitely try to start it, which is the first part of it. And then the second part is to get over my issues around social media and sharing things online. It's quite funny how I came to have these issues, but because at the time I was very active on social media, I posted things every day, and I had like a decent following, I guess, for the time. I was never a social media superstar or rock star as like celebrity, that's the word, I guess. But I had a following and people liked what I posted. But around the time I moved to Czech Republic, I couldn't keep up the appearances, because like most of social media, I think, is just about maintaining appearances. It's about demonstrating how great your life is compared to everyone else. And I was doing that, but around the time I moved to Czech Republic, my life was not something that was great at that point. I was hiding in my parents' flat, waiting for a visa that might never arrive. And this is after, I had told everyone, I'm going to Europe, and a lot of people just thought I was crazy. I think they still think I'm crazy, that I'm trying to do this with the experience I had at the time, which was none. So it was not a glorious thing that I wanted to be open about. And as a result, I shied away from social media. And eventually I just gave up on social media entirely. I was tired of keeping up these appearances, and I just went away. And at the same time, I went through this weird phase of basically hating social media for destroying the creativity on the net. Because if you think about it, social media really forces everyone to post things in one way, whereas back in the day, people would maybe start their own blogs or try to build their own site, which has a lot more creativity and, I don't know, means of expressing themselves than just, hey, post some picture and get some likes or hearts on it. So I really started hating social media for that, for the fact that it sort of killed off old blogs and stuff like this. And that also I started being maybe obsessively owning or having an obsessive amount of ownership over my content, where I would would only put my content on my site and on no social media whatsoever. So I went through this self-hosting phase where I tried not to host anything on any third-party services and host it all on my own, whether it was video, images, even maps. At some point I tried to create my own version of or own self-hosted version of Google Maps effectively. And by trying to do this, I basically killed all of the social following that I had. And looking back, all of this was a big mistake, because at one point I basically forgot the point of me having a blog and me having all this content online was, which is that I wanted to share it with people. I wanted people to see my stuff, and that's what really mattered, not where they saw it. And despite I still am not a fan of social media, but there's no denying that right now that is the most prevalent way that people are finding things. I mean, no one is trying to look for blogs anymore, because why would you? Because you would just open an app and you have all the content you could ever possibly need. So me trying to stay out of this social media space by trying to go it on my own just will not work. I can't expect people to come to me. I have to go to them, effectively. So yeah, I have to return back to social media slowly. And it's also difficult now because I lost the habit, and now I'm sort of afraid of posting anything online, because I just feel like whatever I create is not good enough. I might be too much of a perfectionist in this, I think, as many people are, in that I just think that everything I make is never as good as how I imagine them to be or want them to be. This vlog being one of them, I want it to be so much better than what it actually ends up being, with me stuttering and so on. But this is the best I can do given what I have right now. So I have to live with it, and that is, I guess, my challenge moving forwards, which is just, to put my stuff out there as much as I can, to put it on as much social networks and whatever other sites as I can, so that it's just discovered. And one difference that I will make is I will try to limit my social presence to my interests and to my work, instead of my personal life and my personal issues. Because this was a problem I had back in the day, if I'm very honest, which is that I brought my personal life into social media, and that was never fun for anyone, not for me, not for anyone reading. No one wants to read about, the shit that I'm going through, basically, or hear about it. This vlog might be a bit of an exception in this, because I want to be as upfront as possible here, but everywhere else I will try to limit it to just my interests, so that it doesn't get too personal. And I think that's also very useful for me to keep posting stuff, because then it's not about me, it's more about the content I make, which actually is the point of all of this. So this edition was much longer than the previous ones, and the next steps for me right now is to finish the time tracking app that I started on, hopefully by the end of this week, because I really would like to have it to track my own work. And the next step is to start my own web development blog for the second time. Yeah, stay tuned for the next one.